Welcome back for those that went with us into the break. For those that are joining us right now, welcome on board. We are at the Kickstarter segment of Morning at NTV. And being a Friday, we are moving away from the issues that usually take up our time as a program, as a people, as a country. We are leaving the flames, or rather, whatever is fanning the flames of politics aside, and understanding some of those aspects that may be underestimated in effectively transforming a nation, but must and ought to be given the attention that they deserve. Now, when you hear the word "diss" in the entertainment industry, it's about nullifying the efforts and the talent of another person in order to amplify your own. I can diss the other person and create traction to my own music, my own content, in order to get ahead. So the dissing goes on and on, but it's a culture that can fuel creativity among artists and people within the entertainment industry if the detrimental aspects of such culture are not taken on by elements who might have their own intentions. This morning, we'll be trying to figure out and understand how far can that culture take growth and creativity. In the United States, the hip-hop and R&B industry found itself on the brink at a certain point of anarchy when the diss and the dissing culture had taken over, and then battles were battles. In that part of the world, they quickly culminated into gun warfare, so to speak. In Uganda, it hasn't reached that level. We are still at the positive creative stage. And the latest in a series of battles that we've seen was that between Cindy and Sheebah just a few days ago. Everything that went into the preparation and the anticipation that the two gave the nation was, well, built. And when finally the day came, the performance was thrilling. Okay, let's understand that from a deeper perspective from the people who are behind the scenes that could explain exactly what happens and if this is actually something that can take us forward. If you have yourself 2,000 Uganda shillings and you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, you read an article, a very nice one, by one of the seasoned arts journalists, Andrew Kaggwa, who goes on to say, music battles a sustainable culture. We are lucky Andrew Kaggwa is with us today in the studio. He'll be telling us what he meant, because I don't have to read that article. He's here, and I'll be asking the questions. We're also joined by the legendary Paddyman. Real name's Paddy Mukasa, a music producer. Later, we shall be also hearing from Renix. Interesting there. The names that I have heard all my life, I'm finally meeting the people. A very warm welcome, Paddyman.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
And welcome, usual suspect, Andrew Kaggwa.
Usual suspect.
You said the names you've been hearing for all your life. Am I one of them?
Yeah, you're one of them. Andrew Kaggwa, around 2014, I think you were budding onto the scene when it comes to writing for the arts world. And then in the process of my broadcast career, I was at radio, and these things keep overlapping. So we met each other. They were telling me, that is Andrew Kaggwa. Right, so right now, hey, I sit on the same table. Sure. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
This whole thing about battles and diss culture within the music industry, I look at it as a positive, as something that can be used to enhance people's talent, but most importantly, to compel those who are slow movers to quickly catch up, especially when it comes to innovation and creativity. You wrote the article, you come in later. Let me begin with the legend himself.
Good morning. Good to be at the morning here. Well, talking about the battle, the music battles, I think it's a brilliant idea. Way back, I'll take you back to 2010. Coming up, we had a battle, not 2010 I think, 2011 we had a battle between Bobby Wine and Bebe Cool, and later on we had Bobby Wine and Chameleon. Well, battles are very good, yeah, because they put up, they hype up the vibe within the industry, and one thing I've learned about the competition, an artist will go on stage being sure, besides being talented, or besides showcasing their talents, but there's also the money part of it, the business part of it, that it brings money on the table. And if you ask these two ladies, there has to be some
There's
money.
A lot of money that came on the table.
Money came in.
I'm told Jeff Cheward asked for $1 billion shillings.
The very first time.
The very first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Billion.
I think for Jeff, there were reasons for him to ask for $1 billion. I think it was he was chasing them away. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
in that
also
sense.
that aspect.
Yeah. Not in the sense of give me $1 billion so that I work and they will give it to him. He never wanted.
He didn't want to work.
He didn't want his artist to go on stage. Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah. That's another perspective. Continue with what you're saying.
On the same note, they are good. Battles are good because, like I told you, they bring in business, but they are also risky. Those battles are risky because one, you need to be sure of your talent. The first and foremost, you need to be sure of your talent, and being on that big platform, all we want, we want out of you, because music is all about vocability, how strong you are vocally, and you risk losing your fan base. For your information, there's a lot of work that is done behind, when the artists come to the studios, they do their work and then they leave us with the work. So there's a lot of fine-tuning into their work and all that stuff. So for the public, you never get to know what we do there. All you listen to is an MP3 that is well fine-tuned and mastered and all, went through a lot of gadgets for you to hear. Then it comes to the live performance. One has to, there is no, they don't bring a lot of gadgets on the stage. You understand? So it's risky for one to say, I am going to battle with this and the other person. You must be sure of what you're going to put up, because now you are outside the studio, you come on a big stage. And you might get the money, you might get the money, but then you risk the career. On another thing, like I talked about the monetary part of it, it's beautiful because it creates business, gives business to various, every participant in the game, they get money. And on that note, I want to credit the Victoria University for putting up such an event. One, it was successful. I congratulate both ladies for putting up such an event.
All right, interesting perspectives emerged from your submission.
Sure.
Before we go into, let me just capitalize on that one, where an institution plays into the advantages that come from the marketability of these artists. Of course, there was a gentleman who was up against Victoria University over that, but I later realized there's a university in the United States that does the music concerts for so many people, so it's pretty much okay, and it offers, that is the line of that's the strategy they are taking. They need to appeal to people in different ways. Okay, let me come to the man who wrote a very interesting article that I'm yet to complete. I think I'm 3/4, and it's really pretty good. You basically sum up a lot in this article, and I'm sure those who will get the Daily Monitor must keep this one for the ages and revision. But the history of battles should not be lost upon us. Some of us remember very ably, like you said, Bebe Cool and Chameleon and Bobby Wine. These ones gave us for almost 5 years, where you actually had to, if one announces something, then in the next 24 hours, the other one will also be coming up with something. And then it gave the fans the anticipation, but kept them on the edges of their seats, which is pretty much good. But before these two came on board, was there anything like battles and rivalry?
Thank you. Just thank you for reading, because these days being a writer, most of our newspaper, it's like you've thrown. It's like you're writing and no one is reading.
I read.
So just thanks for that. But you see, before we had the battle of Bebe Cool and Bobby Wine, you need to realize that there was seriously a build-up, literally a 5-year build-up for that. One, I think they started by organizing shows on the same dates for a very long time. Like one would be at African and then the other one is at Chadondo, same dates. So that happened over some time, that by the time their battle happened, it was almost inevitable. But even before that, I know Kadongo Kamwatis used to organize a lot of Ania singer, like they might not have called them battles, but technically they were bringing two artists to have that sort of face-off. Okay. The time I think artists came together and it was a battle, though it wasn't called a battle. It was Kasozi and Basude. They had a show which wasn't a competition, but it was supposed to be like a reunion that was organized by Bakaimbida Drum Actors, because these two had been going against each other using their music. So they organized a show for them to kind of reunite. It was more of a love concert, but they still had to perform the songs that were dissing each other anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, but looking back at battles, I think it's competition and the art industry. It's part of the DNA of the art industry. One, be it movies, people will try to release movies on the same day. On the same day, and in the US, that's a very big thing when someone just decides to release a film on the day you're releasing your film. When it comes to music, I think we've seen it in the US with the rap culture, even the pop culture. Like the one reason why Prince wasn't on We Are the World was because Michael Jackson was on it. So it has been part of the industry. Yeah.
Okay, we shall be looking into how exactly it drives business and generates revenue across board. But allow us welcome Renix to the show. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Great. We are talking the culture of battles, so to speak, but most importantly, ability to create music on account of a competitive spirit that is based on wanting to be better than the other because he or she has challenged you. That can drive innovation and creativity in the industry. But before we get into that, I just want your overview on where we are in light of the latest battle in the music industry, Cindy and Sheebah. How did it roll out to you? What were the misses and what were the hits?
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. The Cindy versus Sheebah concert, I think it's a great milestone basically for the women fraternity. Yeah. Usually it was always battle between men, but this time around they have proved that actually women can take the center lead in this game. For all these years, it has always been men. Everything you hear is women they've always been sidelined. So this time around, I think this battle has proved that that actually women can be something. They can actually come up fearlessly and take over the market. Okay. Yeah. So I think it is a win for the side of the women. Yeah, though something showcased in the battle. Of course, it accelerated both their careers, but then there were some loopholes. For example, in terms of performance. One of the artists performed really good. Another one Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Another one also performed.
Yeah. Had a bad day at office.
No,
that day.
It wasn't really a bad day, but then it showed some weaknesses that really needs to be worked upon.
Okay.
Yeah. So on my side, it was a good start for especially the women fraternity.
Ah, okay. I love the fact that you are capitalizing on the positivity of it, and any loopholes therein are simply lessons for those that will want to do that kind of stuff when they are coming in. But I want to look at the behind the scenes, the preparation of these events. Of course, many times people are saying perhaps battles are going to rejuvenate concerts and give the concerts the kind of energy that they deserve. Let me stick with producers for a bit for us to understand the behind the scene dynamics. And Paddyman, you are one that has been around for a very long time. When you look at the various forms of performances and presentations, which offers the best opportunity, 360-degree revenues, performance, entertainment, and taking the industry forward? Would you, for example, advise musicians at this particular moment in time to find a hybrid between a concert, a battle exhibition, or something that celebrates their legacy? How do we move forward to get the best out of this?
Well, unfortunately, I would say the artists have very little take on, how the whole game should unfold. It's all about the managers, the promoters that reach out to them.
That's right.
You understand? So,
in local speak, Mumba Tegerira.
No, I'm not a promoter. I'm a producer.
Okay, you're a producer.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the guys behind the scenes.
Yes, we are behind the scenes, but we are producing music. Okay. The music promoters, in this case, it's the university that came in and invested in money.
Yeah.
If it was the artists who were leading this, or the producers who were leading this, then we will get to know which area would be, promoted more. For instance, I as a producer, I wouldn't jump on an artist who is already established.
Okay.
I would look for a virgin client or an upcoming and build them up to the big stage. But these
using battle as a strategy.
No. Not using, but no. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
The build up to the battle is a self-made thing. Like Cindy struggled her way to get where she is.
That's right.
Sheebah struggled her way to get where she is. Nobody knew about them.
That's right.
So my point is, before looking at these people from the angle where they've been, from the stage where they are, and then you call them for a battle, it's better you go down deep. Because today it's Cindy, yesterday it was Cindy and Sheebah. So you'll be searching who's going to be next according to where they are, not from your angle, from your ability or from your energy of input. So I would request promoters or the stakeholders, those who promote music, they should get into the underground to go deep down to look for those talents before they surface up. Because jumping on whoever's come now, maybe the next time we'll see Adrian Skin and maybe somebody else, because he's come up. You don't know what he's going to offer. Another thing, I'm bringing this up, we should be very careful in these, the people we put on the big platforms here. Because these are the people that whenever we put them on the big stage, these are the people that the entire world looks at, the outside world looks at. So if you say who are the big artists in Uganda, one will point out so and so, because these are the numbers. We have not, the stakeholders have not participated into bringing up these talents, into raising these talents. We can decide who's going to be on the next stage tomorrow, if we involve ourselves right from from the start, other than waiting for them. Oh, who has struggled there? We're up here.
That's an interesting submission, and it will bring us later into sustainability.
Sure.
Yeah, because when you put somebody out there,
sure,
and either their talent is not enough to sustain their presence on the big stage, then we begin to grapple as a nation. What are we pushing as brand?
Sure, sure.
But anyway, let me just capitalize on that, but ask, before I come to Andrew Kaggwa and ask Renix, given your time that you have been in the industry, I'm sure you agree with what Paddyman says, that there is need to look at the base of talent in order to drive this. But there is also something that came up during the Cindy and Sheebah battle: animosity, the inability to handle the ugly that comes out of this, and that could either set one person against the other. But what I fear most is the dividing of audiences, where people begin to say, since you were beaten flat, so we are going to shun you. Yet it should not be the case. People should be celebrated more. Very quickly.
I think this concert, much as they delivered this energetic performance, but it's high time we excuse me, it's high time we all took our talent so serious. You know, some musicians, for example, Sheebah, her performance was so energetic, but she was, I mean, she got the fans kind of disappointed. But then this does not mean she's not one of the top female artists. You know, she's definitely there. But then they should take it upon themselves that it is actually a room. There is a room for improvement. Much as the fans were kind of disappointed, the audience was divided.
We are struggling to understand, especially for people like me, the lay person out here, if two musicians are on stage at any one moment, it might not be necessarily a battle. It could be an exhibition, a campaign, and they are driving, for example, awareness on HIV, awareness on anything that government wants to put across. When they come on stage, they are received differently. The people don't really care whether that is a campaign that they both agree on, but when they come on stage, they will be received differently. So battles are everywhere, and they've been around with us. Sustainability is another question. Of course, you will hint on it. But looking at the ability for other musicians to quickly rejuvenate their careers using beef, as in if Cindy has gone against or has gone head-to-head with Sheebah, then I think I can go head-to-head with Renix. I can go head-to-head with this. Even if you guys have had a lull in your music for over 2 years, that could rejuvenate your career. Isn't that a positive that people should ride on rather?
One, it's dangerous. Like it works at times, but it's also dangerous. Because if we remember very well, in the year 2008, very many people got their break by somehow having a go at Bebe Cool. And because he was a very easy target, he could respond, and then you respond back using music. Like, he was somehow a very, very easy target. And it did work for some people. But we also know there are very many people it did not work for. So, yeah, like, it's a hit and miss. But then also the dangers are, like, I think it's a very dangerous thing to build your music, your entire career around someone. What happens if that someone doesn't reply you? What if they decide to ignore you? If
you're creative, you find another.
So are you going to jump on another one? Yeah, so like it's a hit and miss, though I think it's quite a very dangerous strategy for any artist to plan like that.
Renix, do you agree with that? Is it dangerous as it sounds from Andrew Kaggwa?
Being this music, it might be dangerous.
Oh.
Times not.
Okay.
It actually depends on how you see your content in the music itself. Because so many guys have come up with these songs. Some have worked, some have failed to work. And then I think if you build your career on this, I don't think it's sustainable.
Yeah. But there's nothing like building your career on someone's. Let me tell you this. That okay, we're having this as a battle, but whether there's a battle or not, these guys are always at battle.
In a way.
They are in any way. Let me give you a flashback. I happened to work with Bebe Cool, Chameleon, and Bobby Wine, and these guys were beefing. They were at the high beef, and it put my life, you know, being between them the same year, doing songs for artist A, B, and then, you know, I had to play, you know, much politics so that I don't get mixed into their battles. And at a certain point, Bebe Cool confronted him and told me, man, if you're working for me, then you're not working for any other. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he told me that. I told him, man, this is my business. Yeah. You either work with me or, you know,
that's right.
I've always talked about this. But whether you like it, the politics is there. And it's very, you know, everyone wants to be the best. And for your information, this country is very small. If you talk about clubs or the places where they happen, these are the same places where they meet. Unlike, you know, other countries where they have, you know, states where someone is big in one state, another is big. These guys, they all want this Kampala. Once you,
that's where the audience
once you're big in Kampala, yes. So there's always that competition. Whether there is a battle or there isn't a battle, these guys are at beef. And as a producer, I'll talk from the producer's angle. As a producer, it brings man on my table. And without competition, I still insist, we do not elevate. Without competition, we do not grow. That's right. I like the competition, and on this, I need to be clear. The competition I want, this healthy competition, not this personal competition. He mentioned about building your career on someone, but if you are two bulls in a crowd, what happens? You go for the big one. You get. Okay. I like it. I have no problem with it, as long as it doesn't go personal. Like I saw on the stage where some...
Andrew, share perspective with us. I'll be coming to you very shortly. Share perspective with us. In the United States, the culture of this has been around, and it has propelled the industry, although there are unfortunate incidents that we see, including the tragic death of people like Tupac Shakur and, you know, the ilk. We don't need to get to that level. But again, within the confines of the United States, it has the ability to take all actors within that space to the best of their abilities. Revenues, talent growth for the producers, and making their game better, you know. Isn't that something that we can work out?
Most of the times it's for how long you play it and how good you play it. I think one of the best conflict situation I've seen between artists was between Drake and Pusha T. Of course, it became ugly at one point, not physical but ugly, when one had to expose that one has a child with a prostitute. But before it got to that, I remember Pusha T released an album and it was in top 10. Like, that was a first in his career.
For him.
Like, he got a top 10. And then Drake releases an album, I think it was called Scorpion, and it became platinum on the day it was released. So
on account of that beef?
Yes, on the account of that beef. In fact, on the album, he addresses some of the things his nemesis was talking about. And then even when you looked at their Google searches, like, they all went up in a tragic speed. So when it comes to that, the way you play it, the way you sustain it, and probably when to squash the whole thing, at times you might not come and shake hands and you're like, yeah, we are friends, but you might just stop responding to it because it has happened in Uganda. Like these days, you will say something to Bebe Cool and he will not respond you. You tell Bobby Wine something, he will not respond you. They'll just leave you
to attend to.
they will leave you die in your movie. So I think the way you handle it and when to know that, okay, this has probably been milked enough, we can move on to something else.
Okay. Renix, you had something that was burning.
No, I wanted to reflect back in 2012. I produced a song for some boys who are trying to diss good life. Boys.
I was about to ask, where is it Rain and Aton?
Yes, yeah. Rain and Aton.
Yeah.
It was a good beginning for them. It was a good kickstart for their career. But after that, what happened?
No, they were too clear about their mission. In music.
So it was kind of tricky for them to sustain their career because they started with
on the wrong
song.
note.
They started with something that is not so right. So it was kind of it became hard for them to like push on with their career because of that. So this music it's good, but how long can you sustain
it?
Yes.
All right. Before we delve into how sustainable it can be, because there are many.
But on his point, I've actually just remembered. I think there were 2 artists on Bebe who said that used to fight his battles. There were others.
Yeah, you always have allies.
There were others. I think.
There was a Denzo and the late Shortcut.
Yeah. Actually, Renix was on the other side, and I was on this side.
All right.
But fortunately, we never got to, we producers, we never got into those battles.
Your business model is clear.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't take on your clients' issues.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. In light of, now let's go into the revenue aspect of some of these trends. How best can they be milked for revenue for the artists themselves, for the organizers? In the case of Victoria University, I think they hit it in a way for their marketing, for the market value, and cementing their legacy as an institution that is seeking to bring on board people from a certain section of society that might not readily look at Makerere University or UCU. That is a dividend for them. But on social media, likes must have grown for some. One artist or two. Visibility must have grown. How quickly are they able to translate this into revenue? I don't know who can take on that question, because is it you?
I think the very first one, like, the money was made. They were paid handsomely, because I got a chance to talk to Cindy one of those days, and she was happy. She was happy. So at that front, the money was made. Both of them, I think, released music when this whole thing was going on. Truth is, the music is a bit forgettable, but by Ugandan standards of streaming.
You guys are also dissing in a way.
No.
What is forgettable?
What's forgettable?
Like, you know how you need to explain a song. If I talked about, say, Bobby Wine's Singer, like literally everyone kind of remembers.
Yes.
And then there is that song you talk about and you're like, okay, which a better way of forgettable is one of them released, I think
one of the girls.
Actually, the 2 girls released music. I think one of them released, is it Tonsobola?
Towards the concert.
Concert. And then another one released another one also towards the concert. Like, it's so hard to find a Ugandan who even remembers
just the song.
But when you see their streaming numbers by Ugandan standards, because in Uganda, if you can get about 200,000 views, like in a month, like that's really good.
That's pretty good.
So at that level, like, I think they did well. Though I feel like there were opportunities missed when it comes to the financial bit of it. When TVs were streaming these things for free.
Yeah, talk about that.
Like TVs just got their cameras, went, put there, and they started streaming to the audience without paying the artist a single dime. Like in any other country, the artist was supposed to earn from you streaming that to your audience, which I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
These artists stream that content on their platforms?
Like I told you, these artists are not the bosses in this. Yeah, like some of them given an opportunity. I'm not talking about these two girls.
Yeah.
Some of them given an opportunity to stand on this stage would be, oh, it's a lifetime, achievement. You get. So they don't get a chance to discuss all these details, who pays for the streams and all that stuff. You get. But going back to revenue part of it, should we always wait for these battles so that we talk about revenue?
Or even performances and concerts?
I'm specific on revenues.
Yeah.
There are those young people who never get to this stage, who never be able to have a battle with anybody. How about them? Well, they are as they are doing well. Like I told you, these artists, they are not the big boss in the industry. We have promoters and these people who have money and invest in the artists.
If you don't mind, I'm not trying to be diversionary here, but what is the structure in this industry? When you say the artists are not the bosses, that means, do we have more like Al Capones in the industry? Or
all industries are not run by the artists.
Yeah, I know, but to a certain extent, these...
Who is calling the shots?
The promoters.
Ah.
Yeah, the promoters and whoever has money, by the way. You can get into the game and invest in your money there. You understand? So I am saying the stakeholders should be given an opportunity, They should be in a platform. There should be a well-organized system whereby someone should be able to follow up. You see, you talked about... I don't know whether it was you talked about Jeff asking for 1 billion. He knew what he was talking about. Yeah, yeah, because he calculated the streams, he calculated his brand, how damaged it would be, or how they will gain.
In case things don't go
well. So he looked into the details.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have a few Jeffs in the industry. Yeah. All we have are people who have money, and where should I put my money? You get, and they don't care about who loses and who is affected.
Would you love to change that architecture and perhaps provide a level playing field? I keep hearing politicians here crying about a level playing field in the industry for the artists to be able to have a say, especially when it comes to who gets the money.
This is business. Why we call the promoters the big dogs in this business? It's because of the investment they put in. But I think we have forgotten other stakeholders who play a big role. Let's not only look at the promoters as the big dogs in this game. When we look at music, what really drives the audience to these concerts? It is not the promoters. The promoters just come in to invest and make sure they reap off their investments. So I think if there could be a chance, and we also get people to invest in musicians starting right from the studio, not only the concerts. If we could get like Victoria University come to producers like me and Paddyman, we sit down and see how to create a bigger brand than we have right now. Because
maybe Victoria University.
Nobody wants to take that risk.
Everything is risky.
Okay. It's business and it's risky.
Yes,
the bigger the risk,
everything
the bigger the revenue.
is risky. Yeah. So I think it's time for these guys to take on such big risks.
Sure.
Yeah, because if we invest in in musicians starting from studio, right away from the studio, I think we can have very big results at the end.
Sure.
If we look at Ugandan concerts, it is hard to find an artist who can bring an audience of about 50,000 people.
Yeah.
It is very difficult, and I think it is. I think it is because we have not done enough to bring the funds to support us. You know, I think we should change the way we look at things. It should not only be that a promoter should come and finance the final product. Let them also start financing the product starting from the scratch. We see how big
that is more about a shrinking
I think
market for the music.
Victoria University, the MTNs and others should actually be doing that. But then they're in a business model, so they're looking, what do I gain? So which goes back to something I usually say on this show, that everything we have around is it associations or federations should be geared towards policy. Like policy being corporate companies beyond just organizing concerts, because corporate companies do not help anyone by organizing a concert or being part of a concert. They are benefiting from it.
Sure.
But then how often do they give back to these industries without trying to organize a concert? Like, how much money are breweries, telecom companies even investing, probably say in the National Theatre, which is a creative space? So if we can just have this conversation, if the associations can, because at times I listen to the associations and they're talking about copyright, which is very important, but no one is talking about how much the promoter is paying the artist is getting. Like, I think basic things like a minimum wage for an artist should be very important. Basic things like getting the stakeholders to actually facilitate the industry they are getting a lot of money from. Those things should be important.
Sure.
So I think policy should be very, very important.
Does that make the federation, that the multiplicity of them, sometimes we fail to understand which one is which when it comes to who is making or offering direction? I just want you to talk about the policy dilemma.
Now, talking about policy, and you're like, who's going to put a,
who's going to offer direction?
Who's going to offer? Well,
who's going to ensure?
Now let me give you two scenarios. There are two ladies that appeared on stage. One is a president of UMA, another one is a vice president of the federation. Now you look at this whole drama. I'm sorry to use the word drama.
It's okay, it's perfect.
It's very unfortunate that the people that would offer services, they are still into competitive, they are still competing within the industry. You get? And now, let me tell you, these guys are busy now that the battle is done. Now they are fighting on their next song. These are politicians in the industry. They are fighting for their constituency. You get it? Now they're back into studios looking for the next song. Which song now works here? When will they think for the industry? You get? That's my concern.
In other words, the artists must shun away from positions that put them.
No, I think the artists should look for people who are maybe retired from, who are not active. They will be able to manage and think and put up policies for the industry. I'm not. Cindy is a very good leader, and I've not tested about Sheebah, but she's a vice president there. She might be doing well, but she has other duties. It brings us to the other issue where ministers were called in the parliament. They came in the parliament when they were busy. The speaker had to adjourn because ministers you get. There's something happening in this industry. You understand?
When it comes to music and the arts right now, no doubt everyone is looking for money, and money is the imperative. There is no one who is going into it. If there are people who are still going into it for the sake of, I think I'm talented, I like the sentimentality of music, and I want to just be out there and do my vocals, well, we are blessed to have them. But when you look at how best musicians ought to be making money, as a career, what must they embrace right now or jump onto?
Embrace in form of trends.
Embracing, there are those factors within the spectrum that come to you. You must understand that this is changing and I must do this. There are those that won't avail themselves, or that kind of atmosphere won't, you won't find yourself in it, and you have to quickly find where it is and then jump on.
Yeah, so one, if I was talking to an artist today, and one, I would tell them to know that PR is real, like public relations is real. So I think these days people will even care about your PR before they
care about the music.
They care about the music. and I mean, as I said that, I laugh because there was a time I think I made a tweet at the end of 2021. Like I had read a lot of material. I had read a lot of material about, it was at the end of 2020, I had read a lot of material about Azawi. Like Azawi, New York Center, Azawi here. Like I had read a lot. And then I was like, okay, yes, I've read a lot, but why is it that I'm not hearing the music? So like, man, PR is important. Is very, very important. And then embrace technology.
Before you go on to technology, allow the audience to understand PR, especially with the context for musicians. There are musicians out there who might not understand why somebody must manage their social media account, why somebody must speak to them before they speak to the media. You know,
one, public relations is at the end of the day is how we are going to perceive you as an artist. It's how we are going to see you. It's the image that's going to be built, and at times it's the brand that the audience will end up consuming. That means the way you talk to the media is going to be measured, and what you tell the media is going to be measured. I've seen it when I've done international interviews where people bring you Lupita and they're like, we're giving you Lupita for 5 minutes. And then they tell you, even before you start the interview, they will go on, there are no questions about her relationship, no questions about this, so it's specifically about the film. So by the time you go in, you know your limits.
That's right.
And the moment you get to 5 minutes, the assistant comes and ends the interview. Or when you ask a question that the assistant thinks is tricky, they'll come in and cut the interview. Like at times it's so bad they even do it on live TV. I think they did it during a Mel Gibson interview. Was asked something that was going to be very controversial if he had replied, and the assistant cut the interview. So like, they have that power. Like PR is how we are going to perceive you, what you're going to say, what you're going to be posting on social media. Most of the times artists do not post for themselves on social media.
Do you see a scenario where Chameleon is speaking to the media at one point and the manager or the assistant comes in and says, Chameleon, stop it.
No.
Let's get out of here.
No, I don't.
now, Chris, I was listening to him and I was like, this guy doesn't know the Ugandan artist.
All right.
Yeah.
By the way, keep the point on technology. I'll be back on it.
It's actually, for the managers and the artists, it's actually the other way around. It's the artist that manages the manager.
Wait a minute.
You know,
the artist manages the manager.
The manager.
It's a case of President Museveni and his advisors.
I don't know about that. But the artist, it's very rare to find an artist who really submits to the manager if it's not a record label.
That's right.
Now, these Ugandan artists, with all respect, I respect you guys, but what my brother is saying is you need PR, seriously. Sometimes an artist will put up a post and you're like, did this come from him? Or did he consult anyone? We have artists who go live on, you know, they go live and say, man, I'm bored. Who is there? I want to talk to someone. And you're like, this guy, does he know that he's a brand, really?
He's begging to talk to somebody.
Yeah, it's not easy. By the way, it's very easy to manage a district than managing an artist here in Uganda.
A district in Uganda?
A district in Uganda.
Are you sure?
For anyone to give you responsibility, I'm telling you,
Uganda is
to give you responsibility to manage an artist, a big artist who has made it somewhere.
They better give you.
It's very hard. You talk to their managers.
You better go to Lubirizi.
You talk to their manager. That's why they change managers a year. Like someone has 5 managers a year.
Oh my God!
But I understand where it comes from. We have artists here. Many of the artists here, they are not groomed into becoming stars. Many of them become star by chance, by coincidence. Maybe he did one song and hey, it happened. So how do I do to maintain this status quo? So what they do a lot of stuff. They do stunts and all that. So it keeps them up. So they are not groomed into becoming stars. But if we had a mechanism, like he was saying, of putting up policies and then grooming these, like we were saying, like the university coming up, putting up a concert, and to the artist who is already established, you find a lot of problems. It's better you go down, get someone, groom him, promote, build him into a star. Then you'll be able to manage him, you'll be able to do the right PR, and you know, the industry will be good. All right,
I'm afraid we are out of time. I will allow Renix the last word, and the aspect of technology that I'd wanted you to talk about, I think is pretty much straightforward for the advancements that are going on across board. Artists are aware, and those that work with them are able to guide them on that. Your last word?
All I can say is our music industry is growing. It's evolving rapidly. Producers are working so hard to improve on their creativity.
That's right.
Much as we've been facing a very big challenge of purchasing the high quality equipment.
Gadgets,
yes, in Uganda. That has actually been the biggest challenge. But producers are working tirelessly to make sure that we bring out the best music, the best sound quality. So the music industry is evolving rapidly.
Okay, very lastly, you brought up something that if, for example, quality and the equipment used, is there a possibility that there can be a central nerve center for production work? And then, for example, if it is Renix to produce a particular singer, you use that studio or the equipment at any one particular time. If Paddyman has their client, they also use that equipment for some time and perhaps pay for spaces and time. Is that possible between the two of you?
Actually, we are working on that as the Association of Audio Producers. Yeah, we are soon embarking on a campaign, at least to have a music facility worth $3 million. We are working on that.
You guys have money. Let me end this interview.